It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. Now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? It is showtime, Geno Jones Showtime. So I'm coming to you live. Well, it's what, 6:30? About 6:31, going on 6:32. 6:30, rounded off 6:30. Monday through Friday, live, 6:30 Eastern. So if you're here in the Charleston, South Carolina metro, maybe up in New York City, Philly, Washington, D.C., Bmore, Baltimore, Charlotte, North Carolina, maybe down in Miami, Orlando, our prayers go out to those in Florida and in North Carolina, especially around Asheville, parts of Tennessee, parts of southeastern Georgia, Atlanta at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Prayers go out to you all. 2 hurricanes, from the damage from Hurricane Helene and the damage from Hurricane Milton. So just we want to lift those families up in prayer. And may God give you comfort for the loss of your loved ones, of your property, your home, your businesses. But God will provide. So I'm not a preacher. I'm not preaching. But I just want to put those words of positivity and prayer to those who have lost so much, but if you still have your life. Yes, my grandfather, Conway Jones, wisest person I have ever known, still to this date, ever walk on this planet, who walked the face of this earth, said, Jeannie, many pearls of wisdom. He would say, Jeannie, any day above ground, any day above ground is a good day. Even your worst day, 6 feet above ground is always going to be better than your best day, 6 feet below ground. So any day above ground is a good day. All right. Subscribe, share, screen grab. Like, subscribe, share, screen grab. That means rip some of the video, chop it up, make it go viral. Right here on the Geno Jones Show, my YouTube channel. Subscribe, share, screen grab. Like every episode. Binge watch all my back episodes and leave your comments in the comment section, please. Please. So today is October 15th. Shout out to everybody if you got paid today. If you get paid on the 15th and 30th or the 15th and the 1st, shout out to you. Payday today. You're going to pay some of them bills. Hopefully your bills won't eat up your entire paycheck, but I digress. Happy birthday on today, October 15th. R&B star from the 2000s, Miss Keisha Cole. She had the hit songs, I Should Have Cheated, and I Changed My Mind, and Love, and worked with Kanye before he kind of lost his mind. Before he kind of, got sideways. Anyway, our debut album really did great. Came out in 2005. The Way It Is. That was a date. That was a title called The Way It Is. Keisha Cole, happy birthday, 43 today. Talking about R&B stars from the 2000s, from the 90s and 2000s. Woo, the ladies loved some of this dude right here. Elgin Baylor Lumpkin. That's his government name, or some folks would say his government name. Named after a legendary Hall of Fame NBA basketball player who is from the same city this young man is from, Elgin Baylor Lumpkin. Now, ladies, especially ladies, if you, somewhere like 40, maybe like 45, 50 and under, I'm talking about Genuine. Ladies used to call him Genuine and all that. Genuine, R&B star from the 90s and 2000s. Of course, the big hit was Pony. Right, girl, ride it, my pony. Get on it, my pony. Okay, all right. We get it, G. So, Pony, same old G, so anxious. He had a string of hits with Timberland, and they kind of fell out. He also had a song called None of Your Friends' Business. And then he had a song called Differences. Genuine, 54 today, from Washington, D.C., the home of, like I said, legendary Rest in Power, legendary pro basketball Hall of Famer, Elgin Baylor, who played with the Los Angeles Lakers way back in the 60s. So apparently somebody, his daddy or his mama, somebody was a huge Elgin Baylor fan. So much they named their son after him. So he was like, all right, Elgin, just call me Genuine, right? All right. Speaking of R&B stars from the 90s and 2000s, celebrating a birthday today, 57, my man Eric Benet Jordan. So actually, Benet is his middle name. Eric Benet, or his government name, Eric Benet Jordan, 57. His big hit, Spend My Life With You, with Miss Tamia. He was married to Halle Berry, so that's Halle's, one of her exes. They were married from like 2003 to 2005, and then he married Prince's ex-wife. Oh yeah, Prince fans, y'all remember Sister Manuela Testolini. So there was like there was another woman that he supposedly was married to, Mai Tai. But anyway, Prince's wife, the woman named Manuela. So Eric Benet married her, and they had two daughters, I believe. And then Eric Benet had a daughter with a girlfriend back in the 90s. She was, I think the daughter's name was India. Her mom was tragically, she was killed in a car crash. So Eric Benet was raising his daughter, India, for a while by himself. I hope he has some help from the family. So happy birthday to Eric Benet, 57 today. And happy heavenly birthday to Joe's second oldest son. Actually, Reba's the oldest. But the second oldest son, Tito Jackson, just passed a couple weeks ago. Tito would have been 71 today, born on this day in 1953. Toriano, Tito Jackson. Happy heavenly birthday. And everybody out there celebrating a birthday, happy birthday. Hey, listen up. So if you're watching me live, and I know folks are watching me live because I can look at my screen here, and I see folks are checking me out live. So please leave your comments in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you. So today, all gas, no brakes, and no guest. All gas, no guest, and no brakes. 21 days. The general elections, November 5th, will be here. 3 weeks from today, 21 days from today, Tuesday, November 5th, it is the general election day. However, election day is already here. As a matter of fact, shout out to the ATL Georgia. Folks in Georgia early voting today, and I saw my last report about 250,000, over 250,000 people have already early voted on day one. Now that was as of maybe about an hour or so ago. So they're probably going to surpass over 300,000 at least, if not more. So set a record. The largest turnout of early voters in the history of Georgia. That's what I'm going to need y'all to do. I saw some video. I saw a live shot. Folks standing around. Looked like it was the Mercedes-Benz Dome. It was that or the... So State Farm Arena is where the Atlanta Hawks play. And of course, the Mercedes-Benz Dome is where the Atlanta Falcons play. But it really, from the shot, I couldn't really make it out, but it looked, whatever the state, wherever it was, whatever arena, it was like a line, looked like a snake weaving, like spaghetti. It was just a line, it was just weaving all around. So that is great to see. That's what I'm gonna need each and every one of you all to do. Not for me, not even for Vice President Kamala Harris. Some of y'all voting for Orange Hitler. That's who we refer to on this show. That's the name we have, the name affectionately we refer to. And I'm being really sarcastic when I'm talking about affectionately. Donald J, the J stands for jackass, Trump, Orange Hitler, General Mark Milley, who was his Joint Chiefs of Staff, the highest ranking military man in uniform, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who served under Orange Hitler, who basically resigned and who wrote a letter, actually multiple letters, one letter telling those in the military that we take an oath not to a dictator, not to a tyrant, not to a wannabe dictator. We take an oath to the Constitution to defend and protect this country from all enemies, foreign and domestic. Speaking of enemies, Mr. Donald Jackass, Mr. Orange Hitler, the man who has gone on multiple television shows and multiple rants in his rallies, whatever they call them, these public appearances, like the one last night. It was supposed to be, a town hall that turned into like a stand around and listen to my playlist for 39 minutes. He just stopped answering questions. So who wants to stand around and ask questions? So I don't know what the hell he was doing. Moving, stiff ass, for 39 minutes, just playing like a playlist of some of his favorite songs, like YMCA, which is interesting. So for a dude that's really homophobic, racist, bigoted in every form, misogynistic, sexist, and homophobic, somebody in this camp, have y'all told him that, because he loves this song, YMCA. I guess because the Village People are one of the few groups or artists that haven't sued him and said, hey, stop playing my music, dude. You didn't get my permission. Cease and desist, or we suing your ass like Isaac Hayes' son did, and so many others. I think Taylor Swift had to hit him with basically, stop playing my music, legal order. It's called a cease and desist. That's the legal term. Means I didn't give you permission, so don't use it, because I have the legal rights to it, and if you do it to use it, I'm suing your ass. So, but has somebody told him that for somebody who is homophobic, as Orange Hitler is, has somebody told him that YMCA is like an anthem for gay men? And it's been like a gay man's anthem for, what, about 3 decades? That song came out in the 80s, damn near 4 decades. I don't know if anybody's like, say, yo, you sure you want to, because he be rocking it hard. He be singing a lot. Why? Doing a whole YMCA. How do you do it? YMCA. All the whole deal. He's doing all that. Somebody pulled his coat like, hey, Donald, you sure? I thought you were so homophobic. It's just, and the point I'm making is the hypocrisy. It's the whole thing. Everything about Orange Hitler is hypocrisy and hate and fear and ignorance and cowardice and bullying, all of it. So 21 days, the general election day will be upon us 3 weeks from today. But you do not have to wait. Like I said, you had over 250,000, over 250,000 people in Georgia have already voted today. And from the data that I've seen and from what I've heard, various news outlets, reliable sources on TV, the majority of the early voting ballots, so they can't tell who a person actually voted for, but they are able to identify, because basically when you go vote, they ask you, do you want a Democratic or Republican ballot? Maybe some states, you may be an independent ballot. So people get to basically, you have to kind of declare. Like here in South Carolina, they'll ask you, do you want a Democratic or Republican ballot? But then also you can do write-in candidates. As a matter of fact, Brother Alan Ali, who's running to be write-in candidate for the Charleston County Sheriff's, has been a guest on the show. He's going to be coming back on. But the majority of the ballots early, because as of yesterday, I think it was close to 7 million, somewhere right around 7 million votes, early votes, had already been cast. That was yesterday. And we got over 250,000, over 250,000, approaching 300,000 just today in Georgia alone. On the first day of early voting, Michigan, you will be able to early vote, I heard, in 4 days. So do not wait around. Anything can happen. God forbid if you live in the Carolinas or Texas or Florida. Hurricane season is not over till November 30th. God forbid, but you could have another hurricane, tornadoes. Heck, in the Midwest, in Chicago and in Michigan, it's an important state. Detroit, Vice President Harris had a big town hall with Brother Charlemagne the God, Charlemagne the God, who is actually, he is a native of what we call the Low Country, the Charleston, South Carolina metro, actually Moncks Corner, which is like a suburb of Metro Charleston, Moncks Corner, South Carolina. So he's a native from these parts. One of the hosts on the Breakfast Club, so they did a big town hall. Vice President Harris up in Detroit City today. It just wrapped up about, what, 40 minutes ago? 40, what time is it? About 40, let me check. Wrapped up right around maybe 5 minutes after 6. So you have 21 days, but really you have less time than that because it is time to vote right here, right now. So many states, Illinois, my mother, she casted her early vote. You can vote absentee by mail. My mother casted, she did, the first day she got her vote or her ballot, which was, I think, going on about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. She filled it out and she turned it in, mailed it back in. So many states, Virginia, early voting, parts of North Carolina, because apparently the way it's going, the way they do things in North Carolina, there's certain parts of the state you can vote now, and in some other parts, I guess by county, they have different dates. But there's early voting going on in North Carolina right now. Here in South Carolina, early voting begins next Monday, October 21st. Mississippi, early voting has already started. Georgia, the first day of early voting today. So Arizona, early voting is already started. So it's Mississippi, early voting is already started. I heard Alabama, early voting is already started. So show up, do not wait. Don't play with this thing. Don't take a chance, because I can't stress this enough. I've been saying this for about 2 years. And shout out to everybody watching me live. Please, you can join the conversation with my mom, Mary Dixon, who's in the chat room right now. You are choosing, you are making a choice between your freedom and your family's freedom and your friends' freedom and your neighbors, your children, your grandchildren. Maybe you don't even have grandchildren, unborn grandchildren and great-grandchildren, your neighbors, your coworkers. Now, I mean, some of y'all maybe don't like your coworkers, and you'd be okay with them being oppressed. No, but I don't want anybody oppressed. I don't even want the MAGA cult oppressed. I don't want to oppress no one. Like my mother taught me, she would say, Jeannie, God didn't die and leave you in charge. You don't have a heaven or hell to put anybody in. So I don't want anyone oppressed. Even people who I don't like, can't stand, despise. I don't want to oppress them. I want to avoid them, but I don't want to oppress them. I would hope for their sake that they can find peace and seek help and get whatever it is that can heal their soul and bring some joy and humanity and empathy and compassion to their spirit. I wish that for everybody. I don't care how hateful you are and evil you are, but I'm not going to deal with you. I'm not going to put up with it, and I'm not going to tolerate it. But I'm never going to wish ill on anyone. I don't want to oppress anyone, but we got almost half of this population of this country. They are okay with millions of their fellow Americans being oppressed. So this election is really, it's not even about Vice President Kamala Harris, soon to be Madam President Kamala Harris. Name it and claim it, as my grandmother Jean Jones said. Jeannie, speak it into existence. You got to name it and claim it. And I am naming and claiming, and I am speaking into existence Madam Vice President Kamala Harris. But what's the other Bible phrase? I'm not, look, don't let this black confuse you, because I ain't no preacher today or any day. I'm paraphrasing the term, some more scripture. Faith without works is dead. So you speak it into existence. But while you are speaking it into existence and naming and claiming it, you got to put in the work right with it. And the work is not only making sure that we get out and vote and have a plan, but that we take everybody, or as Nelly would say, everybody, take everybody with you. Rent a party bus. Use your pastors and preachers. Use them church buses you got sitting in the parking lot. Rent a party bus. Rent public transportation. Chicago, get one of them CTA buses. Take a whole get on the L train if y'all have, put a whole, they got like 8 cars. You know, the L trains or subways in Chicago, they usually have, during rush hour, they'll have like 8 cars, trains. But the train will have 8 little smaller, they call them cars. So just take a whole busload, train load, just a gang of folks. Show up like you're going to the NBA All-Star Game weekend. Show up like you're going to Hangout Super Bowl weekend. This year it's in New Orleans, so I know folks are going to be down in New Orleans clowning. Speaking of New Orleans, show up like you're going to the Essence Festival, like you used to show up to see Frankie Beverly and Maisie back in the day at the Essence Festival in New Orleans. That is the way I'm going to need you to show up for yourself and your family and your friends. Because there are a lot of issues about policy that we'll talk about. Vice President Kamala Harris has talked about it so much, including today. But what you are really voting for, when you break it all the way down, like a fraction, a math problem to its least common denominator, or as my grandfather, Conway Jones, and the late great brother Joe Madison, radio icon, used to say, I heard my grandfather say it first, and I heard Joe Madison, I said, wow. I don't know if they related, but they must have some parents that were friends. It would say, Jeannie, put it where the ghost can get it. Put it where people can understand, where everybody can understand exactly what you're saying and don't have to think about it and scratch it. What do you mean? It's a choice between your freedom and your family and your friends' freedoms, or their and your oppression. You're voting to protect the people that you love. It's bigger than you, or it's bigger than you or me as one individual. It is about your freedom. It really is. This man, Orange Hitler, has said, I've seen multiple conversations. I've seen him say it at his rallies. I've seen him say it on television, the television interviews that he didn't duck out on, like CNBC. That was like friendly territory, supposedly. He's so great with the economy, and so many misguided folks, brainwashed folks say, oh yeah, he'll be better with the economy. Listen, don't take my word for it. Here's a quick, easy Google search, or you can even search it here on YouTube after this show is over. The data, which political party over the last 50 years has been better for the economy in terms of creating jobs and reducing the debt? Those Democratic presidents that have been in office, from Clinton, Obama, almost all the way back to Lyndon Johnson, but definitely from Jimmy Carter to Clinton to Obama. Oh, you're better than Reagan, better than Daddy Bush, and then W. Bush, the son, and now President Biden. Just a fact. But don't take my word for it. That's an easy Google search. Or whatever search engine you use, you can find that out for yourself. But the dude claims he's like, oh, he's like best. Yes, why are you voting for Trump? Oh, the economy. Really? President Biden, actually President Barack Obama and Vice President Joe Biden at the time handed Orange Hitler a great economy. Kind of like when Orange Hitler's daddy gave him $400 million to get started in business, and then 6 of those businesses went bankrupt. Some businessman. What kind of businessman would you be if somebody spotted you? Can you imagine? Man, I'm going to spot you almost $500,000. This was way back in the 80s. So you know how much money? I have $400,000 in the 80s. Man, that's probably what, $40 million? That's in the tens of millions of dollars today. Somebody spotted you that kind of money, and you bankrupted 6 businesses. You opened up 6 businesses, and they all went bankrupt? And you are good for the economy? No. President Barack Obama gave them a great economy. And all he had to do was manage COVID and not tell people to inject bleach, to inject Lysol into their veins. All he had to do was to take it serious and not lie and tell people, oh, it's no worse than a cold, and it'll just, like, it's going to just vanish, just disappear one day. It'll just go away. When he knew how dangerous, how deadly, how contagious he was. Because he told a guy named Bob Woodward, who wrote a book, told him he knew everything, but he was afraid. I didn't want to tell the truth because I didn't want the American people, I didn't want people to panic. So you lied to him, and eventually they were going to find out about the lie, but virtually every time your mouth is open on Chitler, every time you open your mouth, lies are flying out, literally. Like a fire hose, like a fountain. Every time your mouth is open, you're lying. The only time that this man, and in his sleep, he's probably lying to himself in his sleep. There's probably no time where this man, there's not some type of lie either coming out of his mouth or about to come out of his mouth. Over 1.1 million people died. So many people unnecessarily. People who are watching me right now lost grandparents, lost mothers, fathers. They lost sons and daughters, grandchildren, nieces and nephews, co-workers, colleagues, church members, fraternity and sorority brothers and sisters. So many more that died needlessly because he mismanaged the pandemic, and he played games with the vaccine, because first, it was hard for black people in black neighborhoods to even get the vaccine. Now, that's not an opinion, that's a fact. I know that for a fact here. When the first COVID vaccines came out, the communities and the neighborhoods that got the greatest access to it were in predominantly white, well-off-to-do areas for the most part. So that meant even like poor white folks didn't have the access. I know this because it happened here. And it didn't just happen here, it happened all across the country. And then we found out that some of the vaccines that could have went into, black and brown neighborhoods or poor white neighborhoods, and when it comes to lower income neighborhoods, because you got wealthy black communities here too. But a lot of the vaccines Chitler was sending to his Lord and Savior, Vladimir Putin. Yeah. He's sending vaccines to save the lives of Americans. He's sending those vaccines to Vladimir Putin. Are you serious? You're sending vaccines that was created to save the lives of Americans, and you're sending them to Vladimir Putin? Really? It happened. It happened. And now, Chitler says he wants to send in the military. He will send in the military. He don't want to. He said he will. So I wanted to be accurate. He said he will send in the military, the Marines, the Army, Navy SEALs, National Guard, to attack people who don't support him, calling all of us who don't support him the enemy within. the enemy within. Now, if you are a student of history, or if maybe you watch the History Channel, and that language sounds familiar, you're saying, wait a minute, wow, somebody else used that language that was responsible for millions of people dying. You're right. The original Hitler, Adolf Hitler, said the same thing about the European Jews that were in Germany and Eastern Europe, along with others, what they call it, gypsies. But he didn't like anybody. This white, Aryan, blonde-haired, blue-eyed person, which is amazing because Adolf Hitler didn't have blonde hair or blue eyes. Little short, sawed-off dude with like a little fishbowl haircut with dark black hair. So, dude, you promoting this white, Aryan, blonde-haired, blue-eyed nation, and you ain't blonde hair or blue eyes. So, once again, the hypocrisy of hate and fear and ignorance and bigotry and inhumanity. Orange Hitler said the same thing about Jews in Germany 90 years, almost 100 years ago, that they were the enemy within. And you know what happened to the Jews in Germany? 6 million killed, exterminated. Same language. America's Hitler, because that's what his vice presidential running mate, J.D. Vance, who's actually more dangerous than Orange Hitler. He's younger. He's got the same ideology, same hate, bigotry, how he started that lie and then admitted that he created a story about Haitian immigrants who are here in America in Springfield, Ohio, legally. And he is still lying and saying that, well, they're really not here legally, but yes, they are here legally. The people, the business community, the political leaders recruited these people because the younger people couldn't find jobs and they were leaving, and the older people in that community were retiring in these companies and businesses. They needed workers, and they actively recruited these Haitians who were escaping just degradation and war in Haiti, and who got legal, basically like temporary legal status to work here in America. They recruited these folks. They asked them, and then J.D. Vance says, well, you know, to get the media to pay attention, if I have to create a story. And he didn't create a story, he lied. He straight out lied and said these people, these Haitian immigrants who were here legally, they were eating the dogs and cats that belonged to their neighbors. He lied. He said they were committing crimes. Lied about it. And then got caught up in the lie. And then repeated the lie. Well, if I have to create a story to get the media to pay attention. No, you don't get to create a story, dude. What the hell? What do you think? You a Hollywood movie director? You want to create a story, get some money, and make a movie and release it. These are people's lives, real live people who were affected, who are still affected because of your lies. But that is Orange Hitler and his running mate. But his running mate, J.D. Vance, a couple years ago, said that Donald Trump, a.k.a. Orange Hitler, was America's Hitler. He called him America's Hitler. And now he wants to be his vice president. That makes him even more dangerous than Orange Hitler. He said he's going to send in the military. Orange Hitler, Donald Trump, said he's going to send in the military to attack people who don't support him. Think about that. And for all the men, this is not just black men. This is for any black man, brown man, Hispanic, Asian, even white men, Native American. You may not have heard a story because now 20 states, over 20 states, all the southern states that were part of the original Confederacy, abortion bans, 6-week abortion bans. Orange Hitler had been calling for a national abortion ban and said that women, he was on a show with a guy named Chris Matthews who used to be on MSNBC, a town hall. You can find that video right here on YouTube. And Chris Matthews asked him, well, should women be punished for getting an abortion? And he said, yes, there should be some form. Orange Hitler said on camera to Chris Matthews, there should be some form of punishment for a woman that gets an abortion. So whatever he's saying now is bullshit. Because he put 3 Supreme Court justices on the Supreme Court that he knew that would vote to repeal Roe versus Wade, that allowed states on their own, if they wanted to ban abortion until he could get a national abortion ban. The same Supreme Court that struck down affirmative action, so many other rights, especially for people of color. There's a young woman named Amber Nicole Thurman. She was 28, had a son, 6-year-old. She lost her life. She was pregnant. Something happened. I think she took the morning after pill. It was going to basically have, you call it a chemical abortion or the abortion pill. So anyway, something happened. She had a miscarriage. Something happened with the something went wrong. She had to leave Georgia because state of Georgia, there's a 6-week abortion ban. So she went to North Carolina because South Carolina's got the same 6-week abortion ban. So she had to drive through from Georgia all the way through South Carolina to get to North Carolina. Something happened. She got back to Georgia. She couldn't get the life-saving care. She just needed a procedure that women have been getting for decades. It's called a DNC. DNC. I'm not a doctor, so don't ask me what the D and the C stands for. But basically, a DNC is an abortion for women who have miscarriages or ectopic pregnancies, or back in the day, my grandmother would call it, a woman got pregnant in her tubes. And they would have to basically perform what is considered an abortion because the fetus is not viable, it's not even alive. That's what a miscarriage is all about. And Amber Nicole Thurman got so sick and bled so much, she came down with a condition called sepsis, which is like blood poisoning. She died. She had a 6-year-old son. Because the hospitals and the doctors were too afraid to give her the DNC, the procedure that women have been getting for decades that would have saved her life and that would have meant that her 6-year-old son would still have his mother with him alive today. So if you don't think this national abortion ban that this MAGA cult wants to institute could affect you, oh, it could affect you because it could affect some woman you love. It could affect your daughter or your granddaughter or your niece or your wife. It could be a pregnancy that you wanted, but God forbid, something could happen to the pregnancy. And for black women, maternal mortality rate, the death rate for maternal mortality, women who die during a part of childbearing or childbirth, maternal mortality rate for black women, 3-4 times higher than it is for white women. So if you don't think that 6-week abortion ban could affect you, or it could affect you, because it could affect somebody that you love. Like I said, it could be your daughter, your granddaughter. It could be your wife. You and her were trying to have a child. So be very careful, men. If you don't think this abortion ban could come knocking on your door, you were sadly mistaken. And I would pray that it never does. I would hope that that situation, that circumstance that Amber Nicole Thurman found herself in, I would pray that the woman in your life, be it your wife or your sister or your daughter or your niece or your granddaughter, some woman you love, a cousin, I would hope and pray that it would never happen to them and to you, because that affects the whole family. But it could. So you better show some compassion and empathy and humanity. And if part of your decision is rooted in misogyny and sexism, that misogyny and sexism could come back to bite you in the ass, or worse than that. That could come back to take the life of some woman that you love. Have to live with that. Yeah, I don't think you would want to. Try living with that. Knowing that your misogyny and sexism, that karma that you put out into the universe, man, that karma came back to your door. Came right back to your doorstep. So it is a choice. 3 weeks from today, 21 days, General Election Day. It's going to be Tuesday, November 5th, and 3 weeks from today. But we don't have to wait. Vote early. Take everybody that you can with you. Have a plan. Have your ID. Have a lawyer. I'm sure there's all kind of lawyers, whatever city that specialize in voting rights and civil rights. Contact your local offices. You got NAACP, Urban League. Maybe your colleges. There are a bunch of lawyers, law students, lawyers that specialize in civil rights and voting rights law. If you have to call somebody, you use these damn phones and go live for all kind of crazy stuff that's not important. Well, maybe if you have to go live for this, then you can do that also. All right. Time for me to get out of here. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you. You, and especially you, God, most of all. Thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Show live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Chicago, 3:30 p.m. live, and in living color out on the West Coast. Subscribe, share, screen grab, like, binge watch all my back episodes. Please leave your comments in the comment section. Shout out to Mr. Markel Bailey, the official barber and hairstylist for the Geno Jones Show. You can check him out on Instagram, on IG. Kel be cutting up. He's got his first year anniversary celebration is coming up very soon. KELBECUTTINUP. Kel be cutting up on IG, Instagram. Allie Jones, the official wardrobe consultant and stylist for the Geno Jones Show. Check Allie Jones and her Lexi Jones collection, fashion designer, future superstar. Check her out on Instagram, on IG, LX.NCL_LX. And Bruce Gage, also wardrobe consultant and stylist for the Geno Jones Show. You can check him out, his Mario Uomo collection. Mario Uomo, UOMO. Mario, MARIO. Uomo is a U. It's got the W sound. It's an Italian surname, but it's spelled UOMO. U like umbrella, Oprah, Mary, and Oprah. UOMO. Also check out the Flyball collection. All that is on the Bruce Gage Mario Uomo Instagram page. Check it out. All right, thanks everybody. Thank you for watching. Thanks for your comments, and please, 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 please leave your comments in the comments section, and we will see you. The next live edition is going to be on, tomorrow. It's just Wednesday. Wow, that's right. I just back from vacation. I don't know why I felt like a Wednesday or Thursday. So Wednesday night, Wednesday afternoon, 6:30 p.m. on the East Coast, 5:30 p.m. in Chicago, 3:30 p.m. live in Los Angeles. On Wednesday, Working Divas Wednesday, by the way, make sure that you spread the word, tell everybody to subscribe, share, screen grab, rip some of the video, like, binge watch all my back episodes, leave your comments in the comment section. Don't forget to copy and paste the link in a text message and an email. share the show on everybody's page. You know you can share it. You can tag everybody that you follow, all your friends, family, fans. Turn them on to the Geno Jones Show, and be sure to tell them to subscribe to the Geno Jones Show as we celebrate our 4th year anniversary. Yes, the Geno Jones Show is celebrating its 4th birthday. Happy birthday to the show, and thank you for your support. I'll see you live. Now go back and binge watch whatever you missed from this and every episode right here on the Geno Jones Show YouTube channel.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.